Hello, my name is Bill Leahy, K0MP, and just thought I'd do a video here on analyzing RUFZ scores. This is the end of a drill behind me, and it was a student of mine, believe it or not, in beginning. Student came in with a past of having a general license, a code license, 13 word a minute code license, but hadn't used it in quite a long time. So she started at beginning, smart idea for her, and it was a her. And at the end of the semester, she was skillful enough to start RUFZ. So anyway, this is generally what I use in the intermediate for building speed. And if you look at the channel here, I do have a demo on actually running RUFZ and what you should do if you're a beginner. There's many ways of running RUFZ. If you're a pro, then of course you run it full out, but beginners don't do that, at least not for long. It can be very frustrating if you don't set up your RUFZ right, and that doesn't just mean the setup in the menu. It means analyzing your scores up here. Excuse me, and reflecting that in your start and stop time of doing the RUFZ. So anyway, we're going to go through a few of these things. Now this student came in, this is probably about her third try at RUFZ. And of course she was frustrated because she had been running ICR all semester from day one, and was very good at it. And so that's why she went on to RUFZ. LCW first, kind of a little prelude to this. And this would be the final step for intermediate and advanced, depending on how fast you want to go. It's your choice. Okay, so her past high in this was 25 words a minute. And so I started her because it was a beginning student and take it a little easy on her. What I wanted to do was give her a little bit of extra time. First thing you want to start is figure out where you're going to start. How fast are you going to start? So in her case, her top speed last time was about 25 words a minute. I started her, even though it's cut off up here, at 20 words a minute. So I gave her a little bit of leeway here. Usually this is a little more than I would normally do. So the bottom line is you want to pick your comfortable speed at copying call signs. 9 times out of 10, you're going to copy it at that speed. That's the speed you want to start at because we need to have a starting point somewhere. So the first run of this will actually be kind of a get acquainted type of run. So we'll probably start it a little slower than normal to see where we are really starting. This will tell you. So I started her at 20. I knew she could pull call signs at 20 words a minute. Gave her a little time to warm up. You'll pick your own particular speed for that. Now, if you run the first call sign and you miss it, RUFZ will automatically go back 1 word a minute and give you the next call sign. That's fine. That's a warm-up type of exercise. That's why I'm starting a little bit lower than top speed here. So usually that would be 3-4 words a minute tops. You should back off from your top speed. So you start there, okay? In this case, it was 20. And then what do you do then? You want to find how far are you going to go into this? Now, the default setting in RUFZ is 50 calls. For a beginner, and I don't just mean a level, beginning level type of student. I'm even talking about an intermediate student the first time he sees this, okay? That's a beginner. So what we want to do is we want to generate a bell curve on this. And this is a personal thing. All students are different. They all have to find out what this is. The one thing with LCWO, when you run call signs, it's a 25 call sign fixed amount. And so you don't really get to the point where your brain really gets saturated with these things and it starts to get tired. Okay? But we don't want to overdo it either, because if we overdo it, from what I call hit the wall, your brain turns to mush, and that's too far. You've gone too far. So what happens here? We're looking for a bell curve. This happens to be a pretty good bell curve here. It was hard to push her beyond. It was impossible with LCW. Oh, I never got her tired. So this did, once we adjusted it correctly. So we start, as I said before, and we kind of look, run maybe 30, 40 call signs and see if we get something like this at the end. Now you can see her here, she's run about, a total of 40 at the bottom. But at around 30, 35 words a minute, she's starting to get tired. She's making mistake after mistake here, right? Her brain is getting tired. Stop. S-T-O-P right there. Don't go further. Do not go further, because you're hurting yourself. You know, you're gonna, if you go too much further, you're going to get it to where you won't be able to decode code anymore for that day very well. And you'll have to kind of take a 24-hour break. It'll come back, but you don't want to do things like that. So you have to be, if you're an advisor, you have to analyze your students like this and teach your students how to do this. They're not going to be in your class forever. So teach them how to do this. And I just did that to mine last night. So you're looking for things like that. When they start to get tired, stop. When they get 4 or 5 misses in a row, it's time to stop. So what's going to happen is they're going to work their way up in speed, and they're going to oscillate back and forth here, kind of a sawtooth thing. They're going to, at their top speed, they're going to try for even faster speeds. And then they're going to get tired, and then it's going to start dropping off like that. That's exactly what happened here. So what do? How do we find that start? After we run maybe somebody at 15 words a minute and it's really too slow. Well, here's the thing. If they start running about 8 or so in a row right, they're wasting almost a quarter of their total drill time, okay? We don't want 8 in a row right. This is a little bit different than running ICR and all that. How many did you get right? What percentage did you get? Doesn't apply here. Different mindset altogether. So what we're looking at is top speed. That's what we're trying to get here. And if we have problems with characters, that will manifest itself in here, and we'll go over that too. But what we're looking at first is the speed. So now we've got the start and stop times. We know how to do that. As we get more and more right here, let's say we started at 4 below our top speed. And now we've done it a few weeks, and now we've got 8 hanging down here. So we got to move that start speed up. And that's how we stair step up, up, up. What we're doing is we're always running against our ceiling. You know, we're always hitting against the ceiling. And we're trying to get something right so we can break through that ceiling and go higher and higher, and then you'll get tired, and then you'll drop off. And then eventually, when you keep doing that, you know, you'll be up here running, and your ceiling setting down here needs to be raised up. So it's up here. So you're always hitting against the ceiling. And then, boom, you'll break through it. And that's how this works. You'll stair step your way up to 40 words a minute or more, whatever. It's your choice then. Because this is the only way we're going to get your brain and you separated. I'm a big believer in you and your brain, as you know. And you are kind of out of the question right now. We want to get you separated. There is no more coaxing your brain. Was that a C? Let's see. What was C? Oh, yeah, it was a dotted. Okay. Well, that's you coaxing your brain. Your brain is way past that now. You've done your ICR. You're down to maybe a second delay or so. You're out. You've outgrown ICR actually. But there may be sometimes you need to go back to ICR, and we'll get to that again later. But this is what we're doing with RUFZ. We're trying to get this bell curve set up so you fit in the middle of it. Okay? And it's always going to change because you're getting faster and faster. The more you get right here, the more you're going to have to move that start speed up to maybe 3 or so, down from the top of the top speed. So that's the way this thing works. All right, just a little notes here so I make sure I get everything. And we want to make sure down here that we don't drill too long. When we get 4 or 5 in a row wrong, stop. I don't care if it's 30 calls you've done or 35, it doesn't matter. This is your brain talking here, and that's what you got to listen to, not the default settings of some app or a manual that says everybody should start at 50 words a minute. No, everybody should not start at 50 words a minute because we don't know the skill set of the student involved here. We don't want to drive them into the ground. That's a good way for frustration, and that's why RUFZ gets a bad name in that respect. So if you do it this way, they won't be. They'll look at this and say, wow, I'm going up all the time. But first you have to get their mindset right, saying, well, look at all these mistakes I'm making. Look at them all, you know. You're always hitting against the ceiling. You're going to make mistakes. That's the deal. You want to make mistakes. You want to challenge yourself to get faster. And that's what we're doing here. Okay. Now, what do we do then when a student sends you this in the email? Because you can do that. That's how I got this. And she wanted me to evaluate it. So I did. What do I look at now? And what do I want to teach the students to do the same thing as I do too? But how do I evaluate it? First thing I look at is, of course, how fast they're going. So you can see here, we're at 22, 23. We're looking good. Now remember, she was 25 tops. And we hit our top speed right here, 25. Now she's got a shot at an all-time world record for her, right? This is one of the reasons I say don't look at the screen while you're running RUFZ, because you're just going to put more stress on yourself. I got to get the next one right. I got to get... No, you don't. Just run them. That's all. Don't look at how well you're doing. So then she went for the all-time record and lost. She made her first mistake at 26. Okay. All right. And now she went down a word per minute. Got the next one right. 26 again. We're at the all-time record again. Boom, she broke over it. Not bad. This is a separation of maybe 3 or 4 days, maybe in between. She broke over it. Okay, so 27, we're in the ionosphere here. 28, and she made a mistake at 29. Went back and had a shot at 29 again, lost it. Lost 28. Now, we're early in the run now. She knows in her head she's kind of an overachiever anyway. She's not going to let these, she's going to concentrate harder. Harder than you think you've ever done. And she jumped on the bandwagon here and made a mistake at 28. Now we're coming back up again, okay? I lost my concentration a little bit. Now I'm going to bear down a little harder. 27, 28, missed 29, missed 28, missed 27, okay? Missed 26. Got to bear down. 25, 26, 27, missed 28, 27, 28. This is her last gasp now. 28, 29, 30. Not bad for a beginner, I'd say. And then look what happened. It was her last gasp for sure, because look what happened right after 30. Whew. Maybe she wanted 30. Maybe she looked, who knows. And now look at all these misses. She's worn out. Stop. Do not go any further. You're done. Okay? You've got more than enough drill here. You should only do this once a day when you're starting. This is beginner stuff I'm talking now. Beginner RUFZ stuff. Most beginners don't get into this, but every once in a while you get one. So that's the first thing I look at. So now I see her top speed was 30. Now I want to back off about. So maybe the next time, she's a beginner level. So maybe I would start her at 25 or something like that. She went up 25. Now she's at 30. Her old top was 25. Now she's at 30. I'll start her at 25 next time. Okay? So that's one thing we got to figure out. And then we've got it. Now let's take a look at how long. And these are all in milliseconds. So, gosh, here's one she followed my directions. She took almost 19 and a half seconds to go through that one call sign she got right. That's fine. Slow is the key. Very slow. Look at my demo. You'll understand why. But we don't want to see any really fast stuff here. I don't know. Some of the fastest things, there's a little less than 6 seconds. That's pretty fast. She got it right. But it was a fairly easy call. So 5 seconds would be fast. I would rather see this, taking 6, 7, 8 seconds. And over here, you can tell if she took a second try at it. You only get 2 tries at the call, the original one and an F6 extra. So there's a few times she got it the first time, so that's great. So she's doing well. Now let's take a look at the characters. Okay, here's the first miss. She missed a W. Okay, big deal. We went on down here. A couple of characters she missed here. Possibly because of the Z. She might have hesitated at the Z and missed the RB. Now here's some of the things you really want to look at. KC8RO, she missed the RO. Next one she missed, the 6 and the JMS. This is possibly a little hint, and it's very common because we don't get enough practice in the lower levels of the academy on numbers. If this happens a lot, you miss the number and miss the rest of the call, the suffix of the call. That's a dead giveaway. She hesitated on the 6. She wasn't sure of it. She didn't drop it and go to the next character, and she missed the rest of the call. Okay. So what do you do in that case? Here's another. 8. Typically a weak number for beginners. CS, fine with that. 8. I don't know what that is, and I missed the rest of it. Another little hint. When you see too many of these things, I would suggest you go back to ICR training, even if I don't care if you're in advanced or intermediate, it doesn't matter. I've done it in intermediate. Go back and just run numbers. Only numbers. That's all you need. And when you do that, do them for a week. Just run all numbers and get comfortable with those numbers. And this stuff will start to go away. Okay. That's how you fix this thing. And I've already had her do this, so she wasn't quite as bad as she used to be. She wasn't really bad ever, but let's see. The other thing you can do is look at the pitch over here. Now, in her case, she didn't have any problems. But if you have your student has a hearing problem or something, and he's missing certain ones here, and you look over here, and they kind of match in frequency, maybe they're on the high side, the person has lost a little bit of the high-end pitch hearing. This will give you a good idea of how to set your side tone on your rig, too. Set it to where you get the most calls. Look over here and see where you're almost always correct. It's 650, 700, whatever. that might help. But what I use it for mostly is if a student has a hearing problem, he'll miss, the high end more, the low end more, whatever. Generally, that's not the case. I don't run into that too much. But over here a lot, look and see where they're missing, okay? And then, of course, the speed. So that's basically how you analyze one of these things. And it's really, I can't tell you how, if you don't do this and analyze it right and set RUFZ up right, it'll drive you nuts. And you'll go to some other application. And that would be a shame to do this, because this is a real speed burner here if you keep doing it. Your brain needs to hear fast dits, okay? The machine gun dits, as I call them. A beginner will a quick QSY away from that. Get out of here. I don't want any part of that. Well, here, they're going to hear them. And what's this going to do? Does this mean because she's copied 30 words a minute, a call sign, she can copy 30 words a minute? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. You're going to comfortably copy. In other words, if I send you something, you'll get it 9 times out of 10 about anything I send you. That's comfortable. About 60 to 65% of that 30%, 30 words per minute, you'll be good at. But you'll find out if you run this, you're going to find out that this really goes up faster. Your real speed goes up faster when you do this, because you're getting your brain, you're out of the picture, because when it gets up this high, you're not counting dits anymore. It's all brain. You're going along for the ride to strengthen your brain. The brain is going to tell you. You're not going to tell your brain. You're not going to ask your brain questions. The brain is going to tell you the answer. And one thing you want to guard against is second guessing your brain, because it's way faster than you'll ever be if you train it right. So this is really important to do. If your goal is 20 words a minute, you want to study at 20 words a minute, everything is 20 words a minute, you'll eventually get there. But when you get there at 20 words a minute, you'll be fine. And if somebody sends you something at 25, you go, whoop, you'll hesitate. If you're sitting at 20 words a minute comfortable here, you're not going to be hesitating. You've heard those dits before, those fast dits. You can copy a little bit faster than what your comfortable speed is. If you go into battle stations, all out, here's some fast code. Here it is. You've studied it. Okay? This is your little insurance policy. Okay? So that's about all I have on this. It's really important. It should go along with RUFZ to begin with. If you don't do this and you just let it go, it'll drive you crazy. You've got to set it up for your own personal skill level, and then you'll have a great time. It'll just take you, stair-step you right up. Don't jump up too much. Whoops. Don't jump up too much in speed. If you're copying 20, and if you don't prove yourself at maybe 5 words a minute faster like this, don't jump up to 25 just because you went up maybe a word or two a minute. Don't jump up 5 words a minute, in other words. Slow steps, 1, 2 max. 2 words per minute max step. Do it a while. See how you come out, and make sure that you hit this. Now, one thing I'll add too with this, if you don't see this, if you just keep going and your words per minute is going up here, up, maybe you go down every once in a while and up, down and up, but you don't see this continuous missing, you're not practicing long enough. You're not practicing long enough for your brain to build the endurance that it needs. This is an endurance builder too. You're taking your brain right up to its max before you heard it, and then you stop. But if you never see this, your endurance is not tested at all. So that means you would want to increase from her 40, let's say, to run 50 and see what happens. So that's how you adjust the bottom end. We know how to adjust the top end. Well, we need to adjust the bottom end too. We got to make sure we see this to make sure we're running the drill long enough. Okay. So we'll add more if we don't see this. Add more calls. Okay, that's it. Hope this helps you, and I know it will in doing RUFZ. So I wish you the best of luck, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.